Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something, well, really empowering, unlocking your English voice. There's this common idea that learning English needs some kind of special talent, right? Like a language brain. But our sources today, they really challenge that. The real key, it's something much more accessible and honestly, way more exciting. This deep dive comes from Motivation to Learn English Shadowing for Beginners. It's packed with really practical stuff. Our mission here is to give you a kind of shortcut, not just to understand English, but to actually speak it with confidence, with joy even. We want to help you turn it from maybe a chore into something you actually, enjoy, like a hobby. So we'll explore motivation, why it's so crucial, and then we'll introduce this technique called shadowing. It's a bit of a game changer. We'll unpack what it is, why it works for your brain, step by step, how to do it, and maybe most importantly, how to stay excited about it all. Ready to make English feel like yours? Let's dive in.
Okay, so let's unpack this main idea from the source first. Talent isn't the key thing for learning a language. It's consistent motivation.
It's not about being the smartest person in the room or the youngest or anything like that. It's just about, sticking with it.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how often we look for that, like the inherent gift, right? But the source really hammers home that motivation is your why. It's the energy, the thing that pushes you forward. So whether your goal is travel or maybe making friends overseas or getting a better job, that's your fuel.
Right. The why.
Yeah. The stronger that why is, the stronger your drive. And let's be honest, learning a language, it has good days and bad days.
Yeah.
Motivation is what keeps you going, keeps you improving through all that.
And the source used this analogy I liked. Motivation is like a muscle. You can train it, grow it, protect it.
That's a great way to put it. And it points to two really crucial ways to keep that muscle strong. First, make learning enjoyable.
Yeah.
Second, make it meaningful.
Enjoyable and meaningful. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. If English feels like some boring school subject you have to do, motivation just tanks. But if you flip that, if you make it fun, watching movies you love, listening to music, playing games, stuff you do anyway, suddenly it's a hobby, not a task.
Yeah.
And then the meaningful part, when it connects to your actual life, like you're prepping to study abroad or you want to chat with those international friends, that gives it purpose, a real tangible purpose. That connection is, it's incredibly powerful.
There's a great story in the source about this, right? Maria.
Oh, yeah, Maria's story is perfect. She had failed English multiple times, genuinely thought, I'm just bad at this.
Been there.
Right. But then she found a TV show she absolutely loved in English. And she started doing this thing, shadowing the characters, repeating their lines, trying to copy their voice, their rhythm.
So just mimicking them.
Pretty much. At first, she admitted she didn't understand everything, but the key thing was she enjoyed it. It was fun for her, so she kept going.
And what happened?
Well, 6 months later, she gave a full university presentation in English.
Wow, 6 months.
Yeah. That emotional connection she had, the enjoyment factor, it drove way more progress than years of just hitting the textbooks. That's motivation in action. It shows that making it interesting is maybe the secret ingredient.
That story really hits home. Okay, so for listeners thinking, right, I get the motivation part, but how do I actually get better at speaking?
Exactly. And that's where shadowing comes into play. Our source flags it as one of the best techniques for fluency. And importantly, it's suitable for anyone, even if you're just starting out.
Okay, shadowing. Define it for us simply.
So shadowing, at its core, is listening to spoken English, ideally a native speaker, and then immediately repeating what you hear.
Like an echo.
Kind of like an echo, yeah. You're copying everything, the pronunciation, the rhythm, the ups and downs of the voice, even the emotion if you can. Think of hearing a sentence and saying it right back, maybe even slightly overlapping. The goal isn't translation in your head, it's training your mouth, your ears, your brain to just produce the sounds naturally.
So you're not thinking about grammar rules.
Not in the moment, no. You're actively listening. You're doing quick repetition, which trains those speech muscles. You're copying the natural music of English, like intonation and stress, and you're just letting it flow. It's actually a technique actors use, interpreters too, because it trains your brain to kind of think in English, not just decode it.
Okay, that sounds powerful.
Yeah.
What are the main benefits then?
Well, there are a few big ones. First, it builds muscle memory for speaking.
Muscle memory for talking.
Yeah. Like how an athlete practices a move until it's automatic. Shadowing does that for your mouth, tongue, and throat. You learn to make English sounds without conscious thought, like tying your shoes. You just do it, right? Shadowing aims for that kind of automaticity.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Second, it dramatically improves pronunciation. So many learners worry about unclear speech. Shadowing helps fix that because you're copying native speakers directly. You start to pick up the melody, the intonation, the stress patterns, the rhythm. You know how sometimes "what do you want to do" becomes "what I want to do" in real speech.
Yeah, definitely.
Shadowing helps you hear that and then say it more authentically.
Got it. So pronunciation gets better. What's third?
Third, it helps you speak faster and more fluently. Fluency isn't just about vocabulary, it's about smoothness, right? Speed. Shadowing trains you to reduce that internal translation process. You stop thinking in your native language and then translating. You just respond. It builds what's called automaticity.
Like driving a car. You don't think about every single action after a while.
Exactly like that. It becomes more natural, less effortful, fewer pauses.
Okay. And the last benefit?
Confidence. This one's huge. Just the act of speaking English aloud every day, even if it's just repeating lines to yourself, it makes you braver.
Mm-hmm.
You get used to the sound of your own voice speaking English. You worry less about making mistakes. And then when you have a real conversation, it feels less scary, more familiar. Many people say they start to feel like English speakers sooner this way.
But what about total beginners? Isn't it maybe too hard if you're just starting?
That's a really common concern, but the source is clear. Shadowing is for any level. Beginners just need to adapt it. Use really short clips, like 5 or 10 seconds. Slow down the audio if the app allows it. Repeat the same clip many, many times. And crucially, pick something you genuinely find interesting. If you like the topic, you'll stick with the repetition.
Okay, so it's adaptable. Good to know. Let's recap shadowing quickly then. Listen and repeat immediately.
Yep. Copying pronunciation, rhythm.
Training your brain and mouth together.
Right.
And it's meant to be a fast track to speaking more fluently and confidently. And you don't need fancy tools.
Not at all. Just your voice, some audio you like, and a few minutes each day.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier it actually rewires the brain. That sounds fascinating.
It really is. This gets into the science of it a bit. You mentioned neuroplasticity earlier. The idea that our brains aren't fixed, they can change and adapt based on experience.
Yeah, that concept.
Well, shadowing is basically neuroplasticity in action for language. Think of it like trying to walk through a dense forest. At first, there's no path. It's hard work.
Right. Bushwhacking.
Exactly. But if you walk the same route every single day, what happens?
You wear down a path, it gets easier.
Precisely. You create a trail, then a path, eventually maybe even a smooth road. Shadowing does that in your brain for English. It carves out those neural pathways, making it easier and more automatic for the words and sounds to flow.
So it's literally building roads for English in my head.
That's a perfect way to think about it. And it activates 3 key brain areas really effectively.
Okay, what are they?
First, your auditory cortex. Think of it as the listener in your brain. It processes all the sounds, the rhythm, the melody of the language. So when you shadow, you're not just practicing speaking, you're intensely training your listening comprehension at the same time. And getting better at hearing the nuances helps you pronounce them better.
Listening and speaking together.
Yes. And a crucial point here, your brain remembers mistakes too. So the source stresses using good quality audio from native speakers. Garbage in, garbage out,
Right. Use good models. Okay, area number 2.
The motor cortex, the speaker. This part controls the physical movements of your mouth, your tongue, your throat muscles. Shadowing is direct practice for shaping those English sounds. Think about difficult sounds like "stooth" or distinguishing ship from sheep. This is pure motor learning. You're training those muscles like an athlete trains their body.
Okay, auditory cortex, motor cortex. What's the third?
The prefrontal cortex, the decision maker. This is the part that usually handles the heavy lifting, grammar rules, vocabulary choices, planning what to say.
The part that gets overloaded sometimes.
Exactly. But during shadowing, because you're focused on immediate mimicry, not constructing sentences from scratch, the prefrontal cortex gets a bit of a rest from constantly analyzing grammar. It helps reduce that mental chatter, that overthinking, and encourages your brain to just trust the patterns and let the words flow more naturally.
So it's like, stop thinking so hard and just do it. Training fluency through repetition.
That's a huge part of it. Your brain starts to recognize and trust the patterns. The words start to flow without you consciously assembling every piece.
It sounds a bit like how people pick up languages when they live abroad. Immersion.
Yes. It mimics that aspect of immersion really well. You're constantly hearing and attempting to reproduce the language. Shadowing kind of lets you create your own English bubble right at home. It builds that automaticity. We talked about doing it without thinking, like knowing all the words to your favorite song by heart.
Okay, so the science recap. Uses brain plasticity, improves listening, builds muscle memory for speaking, helps switch the brain into speaking mode instead of analyzing mode, and mimics real-world learning.
You got it. It's a really efficient process. But again, even with all this cool brain science,
Motivation is still key.
motivation is still critical because you have to do it consistently for any of this rewiring to happen. And we all know some days you just don't feel like it.
Oh, yeah. Those days when you look at your plan and just think, ugh, not today. Our source says that's totally normal, right?
Yeah.
It's human.
Absolutely. The difference between the people who succeed and those who give up isn't that the successful ones are always motivated. It's that they keep going even when they're not. It's about consistency.
So motivation isn't this constant thing you either have or you don't.
Not at all. It ebbs and flows, comes and goes. The real goal isn't to force yourself to feel motivated 24/7. It's to build a system, habits, that carry you through those low motivation days.
Okay, so how do we build that system? What are the strategies?
Well, the source has some great practical tips. One is super simple but powerful. Remember your why. Actually, write down your personal reason for learning: travel, job, connecting with family, watching movies without subtitles, whatever it is.
And keep it visible.
Yeah, stick it on your computer monitor, your bathroom mirror, make it your phone wallpaper. Somewhere you'll see it every day as a reminder when things get tough.
Okay, remember the why.
Okay.
What else?
Another really effective one is the 2-minute rule. This tackles that feeling of overwhelm.
How does that work?
You just tell yourself, okay, I'll just do 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes of shadowing, 2 minutes of listening to a podcast, 2 minutes of reviewing flashcards. That's it.
Seems almost too small.
That's the beauty. Often once you start, you'll keep going for longer. But even if you only do the 2 minutes, you've won. You've kept the habit alive. You've shown up. It removes the pressure of having to do like a full hour.
I like that. Lowers the barrier.
Exactly. And linked to that is remembering to make learning fun again. If it starts feeling like drudgery, motivation plummets. So actively inject joy back into it. Go back to that show you love. Find some great music to sing along to. Play a language learning game. Talk to an AI chatbot about silly things. Shadow funny movie scenes or catchy song lyrics. Make it feel less like work.
Making it interesting again.
Yes. The source also mentions things like tracking small wins daily, not just big goals. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. And actually celebrate your progress. All these little things build momentum and protect that motivation muscle.
Those are really practical ways to stay consistent. Okay, I'm feeling motivated now. How do we actually start shadowing? Like The very first step.
Right, let's get practical. The source gives a really clear step-by-step guide, perfect for beginners. Step 1. Choose the right material. This is crucial. It needs to be short start with maybe 10 to 15 seconds. It needs to be clear audio, ideally a native speaker. And most importantly, it has to be interesting to you.
Like what? Movie clips? YouTube?
Yeah, short YouTube clips, especially ones with accurate subtitles. A line or two from a movie you like. Maybe a motivational speech snippet. Even slow podcasts or children's audiobooks can work well. The key is short, clear, and interesting to you.
Okay, got my interesting 10-second clip. Step 2.
Step 2. Listen carefully. No speaking yet. Just listen. Play the clip 3 or 4 times. Don't look at the text yet. Really focus your ears. What's the pronunciation like? The intonation, where does the voice go up and down? Where are the stresses? How do words link together? Get the music of it in your head first.
Okay, listen only 3-4 times. Done.
Step 3. Shadow. Along with the audio. Now you speak. Play the clip again and immediately repeat what you hear. Try to mimic everything. You can pause the audio right after if you need to, or try to speak almost at the same time.
How many times?
Do this at least 5 times, maybe more. Speak aloud, don't whisper. Focus on how it's said, not just the words. And please, don't worry about making mistakes at this stage. Just try to copy.
Got it. Shadowing with the audio 5+ times aloud. Step 4.
Step 4. Read the transcript and understand the meaning. Okay, now look at the text. Read it. Are there words you don't know? Look them up. Make sure you understand the actual meaning of the sentence or phrase. Connect the sounds you're making with the sense it conveys. Then maybe try saying it again, knowing the meaning and feeling.
Understand the meaning. Makes sense. Step 5.
Step 5. Repeat the shadowing without looking. Go back to just listening and repeating, but this time, try not to look at the transcript. Rely on your ear and your memory from the previous steps. This is where it really starts to sink in. You're absorbing it more deeply now.
Okay, shadow, again, no text. This sounds like the core practice bit.
It really is. Step 6 is optional but highly recommended. Record yourself and compare.
Ooh, scary.
It can feel that way at first, but just use your phone's voice recorder. Record yourself shadowing the clip one more time, then play the original audio and immediately play your recording.
And cringe.
Maybe a little, but listen objectively. Does your pronunciation sound similar? What about the rhythm and intonation? Don't beat yourself up. Just notice one small thing you could improve next time. Then maybe try again, focusing on that one thing.
Record and compare for targeted improvement.
Okay.
And the final step.
Step 7. Practice daily with short sessions. Consistency trumps everything. Seriously, 5 or 10 minutes a day is way better than one long session once a week. Just pick a new sentence or 2 each day, or review yesterday's and run through those steps. Listen, shadow with audio, understand, shadow without text, maybe record and compare. Keep it short, keep it regular.
So avoid trying huge chunks of video. Don't whisper. Focus on sound, not just words, and don't get discouraged. That sounds like a complete plan.
It really is. And remember the fun part.
Right, making it an adventure. How do we keep it fun?
Well, the source has some great creative ideas beyond just standard clips. For example, shadow your favorite characters. Pick someone from a TV show, movie, even a cartoon you like. Mimic them. Copy their emotion, their speed, their accent, maybe even their facial expressions while you do it. That makes it really engaging and emotional, which helps memory.
Acting it out, basically.
No.
What else?
Turn song lyrics into shadowing practice. Choose songs with reasonably clear lyrics and a tempo you can handle. Listen to a line, repeat it, maybe even try singing it along. Great for training your ear, your voice, and your memory all at once.
I like that one. Music makes everything better.
Doesn't it? You could also create shadowing playlists by topic. If you're interested in travel, make a playlist of travel vlog snippets. Business English. Find clips from presentations. Humor. Shadow comedians. It organizes your practice and lets you match it to your mood or needs.
Customizing it. Smart.
You can also use voice assistants or AI tools. Practice asking your phone assistant questions and then shadowing its answers. Some AI language tools let you have conversations. Try mimicking some of the phrases the AI uses. It's interactive.
Using tech, okay.
The key is just finding ways to keep it fresh and enjoyable for you. The more fun it is, the more consistent you'll be and the faster you'll see progress.
That makes total sense. But even with all these tips, some people might still be thinking, okay, but can I really do this? Does it work for normal people?
It's a valid question. And that's why the source includes these success stories. They're not about language geniuses. They're about regular people who started right where you might be now, maybe feeling shy, maybe struggling, maybe doubting themselves.
Tell us about one.
Okay, take Ayumi from Japan. She described herself as shy, someone who would literally freeze up when she had to speak English. She found shadowing, specifically using TED Talk clips because she found them inspiring.
Yeah.
She committed to just 10 minutes every morning.
Just 10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes. After about 3 months, she said her mouth just didn't freeze anymore. Eventually, she gave a public presentation in English. Her quote was lovely. She said, "Shadowing helped me become friends with my voice."
Wow, friends with my voice. I love that.
Isn't that great? Then there's Daniel from Brazil. His goal was specific, a job interview with an international company. So he shadowed professional English videos for 15 minutes every day.
Focused practice.
Exactly. And when the interview came, he said it felt like he was just repeating lines he had practiced hundreds of times. He felt natural, confident, and he got the job.
Fantastic outcome.
And Lena from Ukraine. Her motivation was pure passion. She loved the movie Pride and Prejudice, so she shadowed the scenes, copied Elizabeth Bennet's dialogue, acted out entire conversations between characters.
So she really used that make it fun idea.
Totally. That emotional connection fueled her. She eventually started posting recordings of herself reading dramatically in English online. People thought she was a drama student, but she just said, "I'm just someone who loves English and practiced every day with my favorite characters."
Amazing. One more.
Mohammed from Egypt. He's a great example because he had no teacher, no chance to travel abroad. He just used his smartphone. 10 minutes a day, shadowing podcasts and YouTube blogs, often standing in front of a mirror to watch his mouth movements. He built his confidence piece by piece, and after about a year, he uploaded his own YouTube video in English that ended up inspiring thousands of other learners.
These stories are powerful. What's the common thread?
It's pretty clear, isn't it? They all started small. They practiced daily, even if just for a few minutes. They chose content they genuinely loved or found useful.
Yeah.
They spoke aloud even when it felt awkward at first. And crucially, they believed that their effort mattered more than some innate talent they thought they lacked.
So the message for listeners is,
you can absolutely copy this path. It doesn't matter where you live, whether you have a teacher or if your grammar is perfect right now. What matters is consistency, finding joy in the process, believing in your potential, and using a technique like shadowing that ties listening, speaking, and emotion together.
this leads to a deeper question, though. How do we move beyond just learning English as a skill and make it feel like it's really part of who we are?
That's the ultimate shift, isn't it? Making English part of your identity. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean you need to sound like someone from London or New York or abandon your native language. Not at all. It means feeling that English belongs to you, that it's a valid voice for your thoughts, your ideas, your personality.
So it's not about imitation, but ownership.
Exactly. When it becomes part of your identity, you're not just learning it for something external, like a test or a job. You're learning and using it for yourself.
Yeah.
And that internal motivation is incredibly sustainable.
How do we cultivate that? What are the strategies?
The source offers some great mindset shifts and actions. First, a big one. Stop saying, "I'm not fluent." Instead, start saying, "I'm an English speaker."
Even if you only know a little.
Especially then, if you can understand this conversation, if you've shadowed even one sentence, if you can say, "Hello, you are speaking English," reframe it. Say, "I'm improving every day," or "I speak English." Your brain listens to your self-talk. If you identify as a speaker, your actions tend to follow.
Okay, change the self-talk. What else?
Create an English environment around you as much as possible. Change your phone or computer language settings to English. Follow social media accounts or YouTube channels in English. Write your shopping lists or to-do lists in English. Even just talk to yourself in English while you're doing chores.
Immerse yourself passively.
Exactly. It surrounds you with the language, making it feel more normal, more part of your daily life. Another key thing: speak first, think later.
Ooh, that sounds dangerous.
It sounds counterintuitive, but perfectionism is a major trap. It keeps you silent. The advice is, say it now, fix it later. If you can't find the perfect word, use a simpler one. If you make a grammar mistake, who cares? Smile, correct it if you can, but keep the conversation flowing. Your brain learns better from trying and repeating than from hesitating.
Get out of your own head.
Pretty much. Also, build emotional connections with the language. We remember things tied to feelings. So, watch movies in English that make you genuinely laugh or cry. Read stories that inspire you. Maybe even keep a simple personal diary in English about your feelings or your day. The stronger the emotion, the deeper the memory.
Use emotion as a learning tool.
Yes. And finally, use English as a tool to create, not just consume. Don't only listen and read. Actively use the language. Write a journal entry. Record a short voice note summarizing your thoughts. Post a comment on a video in English. Reply to someone on social media. Make a funny meme in English.
Produce something.
Yes. When you create with the language, you take ownership of it. It stops being something external you're studying and becomes your tool for expression. And importantly, let English reflect the real you. Don't try to sound like a textbook or a generic robot. Find your voice. Talk about things you care about. Use expressions you like. Let your unique personality shine through.
This whole journey sounds like you're not just learning a language, you're evolving as a person. You're not the same learner you were when you started listening today.
Absolutely. Every effort, every sentence shadowed, every small conversation, it's all growth. So the final message here is powerful. From now on, maybe don't just say, I'm learning English. Try saying, I'm living English. This language can be yours too. Own it.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot. We went from understanding why motivation trumps talent to unpacking the shadowing technique, looking at the brain science, getting practical steps, hearing inspiring stories, and finally thinking about how to make English part of your identity. You really are on a powerful path.
And here's a final thought to leave you with. You are already an English speaker right now, and honestly, you're just getting started.
So what's the very next step? Our challenge to you: choose just one sentence today. Find one sentence you like. Listen to it. Repeat it. Speak it out loud. Start building your voice, your rhythm, your confidence right now.
So what's your first sentence going to be? Go find it. Go shadow it. Go make English an exciting part of who you are. You can absolutely do this.